Welcome, everyone. This is Joe Dager, the host of the Business 901 podcast. With me today is Dan Rome. Dan is the author of the international bestseller, The Back of the Napkin, and a host of other books. He teaches you how to use drawing effectively in business. Dan is also the founder of the Napkin Academy, the world's first online visual thinking training program, and the reason we're here today is a discussion about his new book, Draw to Win. Dan, thanks for joining me.
Hey, good morning, Joe. It is a pleasure to be with you.
Oh, it's great. But as you're talking there, I'm sitting there thinking is that, I had this little art class once a week for an hour, okay? On Friday afternoon when they couldn't teach me anything else, right?
Right.
And that's what happened to me in school. But it seems like it's so obvious to pull that up. Is school changed? I mean, I'm an old guy. Is school changed? Is there's more visual and we're spending a lot more time in that area now?
It's a real split. I often people ask me, Dan, now that the books have been successful and I've got a kind of a name in the business community and I'm doing great projects and on the road and speaking and those kind of wonderful things, people often ask me, so Dan, what's next? You've achieved some of those goals. What's next? Well, the answer, Joe, to what you're saying is education. I think I have two daughters. One is in elementary school and one is in high school right now. So I've paid a lot of attention to how education works these days. And I think their teachers are magnificent. I think it is a shame, though. I think it is a shame that we don't emphasize the visual more in learning. And I think the simple answer to the question in sort of standard education, sort of the standard curriculum, no, pictures sadly are going bye-bye. You can't test for pictures. They don't fit well into the sort of the standards of the 3 R's, reading, writing, arithmetic, kind of the basics. No room for art, no room for visuals. Let's go straight to math and reading. Okay, great. Well, but that's terrible because what we're doing is we're missing this entire cognitive engine that we have that makes things clear. And the example that I love to give for it is that imagine any kid who's kindergarten age or younger. What is the one way they have to record their thoughts? And what is the one way that every single little kid does record their thoughts? Well, I will show you what that way is. Every one of us, when we were children, did this. We say, this is me, and here's my mom, and here's my dad, and here's our house, and here's the sun, and here's the dog. And we did that all the time, and we drew all the time. And that was the way we recorded our thoughts and communicated them because we didn't yet know how to read and write. Well, awesome. Then comes along, we go into first, second grade, we start to learn the ABCs, we start to learn spelling, it ramps up, we get this whole incredible structure of tools over the next several years. We get grammar, we get syntax. Hopefully many of us have a chance to learn a second language. We've got all these incredible verbal communication skills that we've learned, but we don't have any structure to support what we innately want to do to communicate. And in fact, I think the real shame of it is for most kids in school, the moment that you can read, the teacher comes and says, okay, don't use the pictures anymore. You don't need them. Those pictures were great training wheels to get you to be able to read. Crazy. No, pictures are not training wheels. Pictures are the full bicycle. Words are a great way to communicate, but words by definition are linear. If I'm going to tell you a story, I have to start here and start at point A and talk to point B, to then talk to C, then to D, then to E. I mean, Joe, to be fair, what's the likelihood you even remembered where this conversation started? We're all the way over here at point H, and we're supposed to remember what A, B, and C were? Think about the amount of cognitive cycles that you are burning when someone is talking, like I'm doing right now, simply trying to remember where did this conversation begin? That does not happen when we show the picture. We don't have to remember anything. It's all right here. We can now use those cognitive cycles to actually analyze what's going on in here. This is the real problem. The other thing is that the problems we face today, and I know you know this from your experience in sales, the problems that we face today, and this may have always been true, they're not linear. You don't solve a really complex construction problem. You don't solve a really complex business strategy problem by writing 4 paragraphs. No, because these problems are multi-layered. There are multiple pieces that are going on. Problems are not an A, B, C, D thing. Problems are things that are stacked up on top of each other. There's matrices moving across them. You have one thing that impacts another one, which impacts another one, and the whole thing tips like this because of this other weight of some other element sitting on it. Talking is beautiful. Writing is beautiful, but writing is not going to solve a multidimensional, multifaceted problem. It will take one slice and fix that. Pictures, however, are the way that we can begin to map in to say, and let me go ahead and visualize this just a little bit.
Well, I have to admit, Dan, you're not very passionate about your subject.
No, you don't think so? Joe, the fact is, there are many facts. One of the facts is I am passionate about this because I know with 100% conviction that using pictures to clarify your own thinking and then using those pictures to communicate that thinking to someone else, when combined with words, is the most powerful mind meld communication tool ever. Nothing supersedes combining the visual with the verbal. We're good with the verbal. We have no experience, no tools, very little training on the visual. And that's what my soapbox is all about. And you better believe I love it because I know that, to the degree I've had any success, and I've had some, it's because I'm the guy who draws the pictures. I have a little rule. I forget which one of the 10 commandments is, but it's probably commandment number 2, number 3. Whoever draws the best picture wins.
It's true.
And what I mean by that is we don't see this very often in the business world, people drawing pictures. But when we do, when you are the person in the meeting who has the guts to go up to the whiteboard or the flip chart and do what I was doing a moment ago and say, wait a minute, folks, if I understand correctly, this is us over here, and here's the problem over here, and here's where we need to go. Did I get it right? If you're the one who draws the picture, you're the one who's going to get everybody's attention. And if you can make that picture clear enough to where in general people agree and can share what they're seeing, you've won. You will be the person who wins the argument. You will be the person who wins the contract. You will be the person who wins the funding for the simple reason the human mind, more than anything else, for the data points we talked about before, is triggered by pictures. And when we see something that we believe and it makes sense to us, it lights up our brain for the reasons we saw a moment ago in ways that nothing else can do. If you want to win, that's why I called the book Draw to Win. If you want to win, be the person who creates the picture. You're going to win. And it is as simple as that.
Well, it's so simple to start out, you say, is just to draw a circle, the same way we started this conversation, right?
Certainly. Yeah. Many people are going to say, okay, and I thought, Joe, a moment ago, this is where you were going to go when you were talking about your experience back in school. I would say when I go into a business meeting, my experience would be that probably half the people in the room say, Dan, this sounds good, but I'm not visual. I can't draw. I'll listen to you, but I'm not going to do it. The other half are like, yeah, this is cool. I've always drawn. Nobody ever told me it was okay. I'll do more of it. Great. But half the room is, I would say at best, maybe a little bit, they're not cynical because people are always intrigued by the idea, but a little bit nervous and saying, I can't do this because I'm not visual. You are visual. Everybody is visual. Think about how your eyes guide you through the day. You wake up in the morning and you open your eyes and you see the sun is out and you wake up, you get out of bed and you put your clothes on or whatever your morning routine is. Half the time your brain is still turned off. You're not even awake yet. What is keeping you alive? What is helping you make those decisions and knowing what to do? Your eyes. Your sense of vision is at work. It is a miracle that it works at all. And it is fantastic how effective vision is. It is our lifesaver and it is our superpower. It's guiding us through the day all the time. You're driving a car, you're thinking about these other things, your eyes are scanning and making all these decisions and helping you react. Yeah, sometimes your vision system is off a little bit, but what's amazing is not how infrequently it doesn't work well, but how frequently, how often, and how unconsciously vision powers us through. All I'm trying to do is say, imagine what could happen if we could tap into that power in an intentional way. And this is the real genesis of my work is, wouldn't it be interesting, Joe, wouldn't it be cool If we could know enough about neuromechanically, how vision works, how does our brain turn light in the form of photons into meaning in our head thousands of times a second, billions of photons of light? How does that even happen? That's crazy. And the fact that our vision system does that in less than a tenth of a second is even crazier. That's where those calories are going, by the way, to keep that visual engine churning and running all the time.
Done a wonderful job, okay, explaining things, and especially to my lean group of people, because I've always quoted this and used this for years, is that,
Great.
you know, you're not lean if you're not visual. And
Yeah.
and that is, you know, a perfect way to go. I thought Draw to Win was a great book for sales, for marketing, and even for the executive. You know, we need to get those guys sketching, right? Even at this
Absolutely.
and that. So,
well, Joe,
tell me where I can find the
Yeah.
book, and you know, and where's the best place to contact you, and just throw in and give me a plug about the Napkin Academy, okay? Because
Okay,
I
so the
wanna see
easiest
about
way to
that.
reach me is really simple. It's simply dan@danrome.com. If you can read that, dan@danrome.com. And that's my email address. danrome.com is the easiest place to find me online, and everything that we're talking about will be there. And the Napkin Academy. So napkinacademy.com, all one word. In fact, let me write it out right now so that people can see that. It is NAPKIN academy.com. That is, there you have it right there, napkinacademy.com. That is, as you mentioned earlier, my online visual thinking training school. I've started it almost 5 years ago now. We've had about 3,500 people who've become card-carrying members. I did an account once from 43 countries around the world. It's really great. It's a paid service. It's a subscription service. You pay a minimal fee every month. You pay me $19 a month. And what you get for that is you have my entire set of all 5 books available in video lessons. The video lessons vary in length from 15 to 25, 30 minutes. Each lesson is me live drawing, taking you through one aspect of visual communication. There are many, many of those lessons available now. We have an active community. People have homework assignments. Once every 3 weeks to get together online, and we do a review of each other's work. I introduce a new lesson. It's really great. I really, really enjoy it. And our community it's a tight group of people that are exploring from different parts of the world and different businesses and industries how we can bring these tools to bear in what we do. I encourage people to take a look. I think you'll like it.
I think it's an exciting opportunity for people to take a look at the Napkin Academy, but I would first tell them to start winning by reading the book
Drawing to
Win. Okay.
Very good.
I would like to thank you very much, Dan, and I hold you in high regards and think you've done a great job, okay, through the last 10 years that I've followed you. So privileged to have you as a guest.
Joe, thank you. It's been fun to be here.
This podcast will be available in the Business 901 iTunes store. Look for some YouTube excerpts on it, and of course, Business 901 blog site. So thanks everyone for listening.